Get the guitar. All right, where are we? Okay. And chant Goranga Balite Habi again, if that's all right. Goranga Balite Habi Bulaka Chari Adi Hare Balite Nayane Goranga Bolite Habi Fulaka Charir Hare Hare Bolite Nayane Babidir Ara Kabin Nitai Chandera Korun Noibe Samsara Bashana Mora Kapeducha Hoibe Ara Kabin Nitai Chandera Koruna Hoibe Sarabashana Ra Kabe Tuja Hoibe Vishaya Tuti Akabe Shurabe Mana Kabe Amahira Boshri Vrindavanava Vishaya Akabe Shurabe Mana Kabe Amai Raboshri Vrindavanava Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Ako Te Kabe Amabujabo Se Galabirati Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Gabe Amabujabo Se Yugalabirati Rupa Raghunatha Pade Raghumura Shah Pratana Kore Sada Narotamudas Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rakumura Shah Pratana Kore Sada Narotamudas Bulakagat Sharir Hare Hare Bolite Nayane Babibir Gorangama Tehabe Bulakasharir Hati Hati Lite Nayane Babinir Prabhupada, 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 Jai Go, Haribo, Bo, Haribo, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paravadikacharya, Alsutela, Sitashi, Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya, Chalana, the Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Pram Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha, Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath, Shai Makunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Munamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachari Nivashesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deja Tarane, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So I'll read the translation. When will that opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord Gauranga? When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires so that I can understand Vrindavana? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis are my only shelter. In constant separation from them, I remain Narottama Das. Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Actually, I did that already. So anyway, we are going to read the Caitanya Charitamrita. I'll continue reading the Caitanya Charitamrita, and we're on a new chapter now. Yesterday, or last few days, we've been talking about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's interactions with Ishwara Puri, but at this particular juncture, at the juncture that we were reading about, he did not recognize Ishwara Puri. Well, maybe he did recognize Ishwara Puri as a spiritual master, but Ishwara Puri did not recognize who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was at that particular point. So anyway, because Ishwara Puri was visiting the Navadvip area, and Lord Chaitanya was still acting as a very proud, scholastic person. So anyway, let's continue. Om Ganati Miranda Shagananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmeritam Yena Tasmai Shigadave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, let's share the screen. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda. All right. You just adjust the window. Ooh. That's strange. It's not adjusting the text to fit in the window. Anyway, we'll have to adjust the other windows. That is really strange. Usually, oh, I understand why. Okay. We have to do this. Then adjust the text. Okay, that works. So, this is the end of the previous chapter, which was chapter 11, and now we'll go to chapter 12. Chapter 12 is entitled The Lord's Wandering Throughout Navadvip. And as we usually do, we're going to skip the chapter summary because we don't want to ruin the excitement as we're reading the chapter. All right. Okay. Don't look at it as we're paging through it because it'll give everything away. Wow, it's a long chapter. That looks like the end of it. Okay, text 1. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Shri Gaura Sundara Jaya Hoka Prabhura Yateka Anuchara. All glories to Mahaprabhu Shri Gaura Sundara. All glories to the followers of the Lord. Okay, let me just adjust this one thing. Okay, got it. Oh, that's good enough. So, let's go to the second text. Hena Makte Navadvipe Shri Gaura Sundara Pushtaka Laya Krida Kara Kare Nirantara. In this way, Shri Gaura Sundara, with book in hand, always enjoyed pastimes in Navadvip. Yatadya Baka Prabhu Chalena Sabare Prabodite Shakti Kona Jananahi Tare. He challenged any teacher he would meet, but none of them had the power to defeat him. Yakarana Shastre Sabividya Ra Adana Bhattacharya Pratyo Nahika Trina Jnana. Although he was simply a student of grammar, he nevertheless considered the learned Bhattacharyas to be as insignificant as grass. Pretty prideful. Swanu Bhavanande Kare Nagara Brahmana Sanghate Paramab Bhagyavanta Shishagana. The self-satisfied Lord traveled throughout Navadvip along with his most fortunate students. Daivipate Mukundera Sange Darashana Haste Dari Prabhu Tande Bolena Vachana. One day, by providence, the Lord met Mukunda on the road. The Lord held Mukunda's hand and spoke to him. Amare Dikiya Tumi Ki Karye Palao Aji Ama Prabodhya Binade Ki Yao. Why do you run away as soon as you see me? Let me see how you run away today without answering me. Oh my God, poor Mukunda. Mane Bhave Mukunda Aji Jinimu Kemane Ihana Vyasa Sava Matra Vyakarane. Mukunda thought, how will I defeat him today? He is well versed only in grammar. Te Kalimu Haji Gigasya Lankara Morasana Yena Garva Nakarina Ara. I'll defeat him with questions on Alankara. Alankara. Then he may not again display his pride before me. So he thought Nimai only learned about grammar, not about Alankar, which is a poetic aspect. Lagi nasa mukundera prabhu sane, prabhu kande yata arta mukunda vakane. Thereafter Mukunda began to ask the Lord questions. Whatever Mukunda established, the Lord would refute. Mukunda Bolena Vyakarana Shishu Shastra Balake Se Ihara Vichara Kare Matra. Mukunda said, grammar is studied only by children. He's good. He's accusing Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu of being just like a little baby. Alankara Vichara Kariba Tumasane Prabhu Kahe Buja Toras Yeva Layamane. Today we should discuss Alankara. The Lord replied, as you desire. Vishama Vishama Yata Kavita Kavitva Pracharha Padya Mukunda Gyasye Alankara. Mukunda then read some of the most difficult yet well-known verses and asked the Lord to point out any faults. Sarva Shakti Maya Gaurachandra Avatara Kanda Kanda Kari Doshe Sava Alankara. The omnipotent Lord Gaurachandra then pointed out various faults in the verses. Because he knew everything anyway. He's a repository, all knowledge comes from him. Mukunda stapite nare prabhura kandana hasya hasya prabhu bolena vachana. Mukunda was unable to reestablish what the Lord had refuted. The Lord then smiled and said to him, Ajigare giya bala mate punti chaha kali bhana jata asibhare chaha. Go home for today and study your books carefully. Come early tomorrow and we'll discuss further. Chalila Mukunda lai chara nera dule mane mane chintiye Mukunda kutu hale. After Mukunda took the dust from Nimai's feet and departed, he thought. So this is what happens if you get defeated by someone. You've got to take the dust from their feet and surrender. Manushyare mata panditya ache gota hena shastra nahika abhyasana hiyata. An ordinary human being cannot possess such knowledge. There is no literature that he is not conversant with. Because he's God. What do you expect? Of course, he didn't know that. Hey mata subiri Krishna bhakta haya yabe tileko ihana sangha nachadiye tabe. If such an intelligent person was a devotee of Krishna, then I would not leave his association for even a moment. But otherwise, he wanted to stay away from him. Emate vijigurase vakunta ishvara brahmate dekena aratine gatadara. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed the life of a scholar. One day, while wandering about Navadvip, Nimai met Gadadhara. Hasidwe hate prabhu wakela dariya nyaya pada tumi amaya pabodhya. The Lord smiled as he caught Gadadhar's hands and said, aren't you studying logic? Come, let us debate. Yasaha Gadadhar Boliye Vachana Prabhu Bole Kahadeki Muktira Lakshana. Gadadhar said, so, question me. And Nimai asked, what are the symptoms of liberation? Shastra Artha Yena Gadadhara Vakka Nila Prabhu Bolena Vyakya Karitena Janila. Gadadhar then explained the symptoms of liberation according to the scriptures. But Nimai countered, you don't know how to explain properly. Gadadhara bole atyantika juga nasha ihare shastre kahi muktira prakasha. Gadadhar then said, liberation is freedom from misery. This is the meaning of liberation according to the scriptures. This is from the Sankhya scriptures. Nanu rupe doshe prabhu saraswati pate hena nahi tarkika ye kadibeka stiti. Then the Lord, who is the husband of the goddess Saraswati, pointed out various faults in the statement. There was no one who could defeat his argument and silence him. Phew. Hena jana nahi kaye prabhu sane bole Gadadhara bhave Ajivarti Balayele. No one even dared to speak with the Lord, and thus Gadadhar thought, I'll be relieved to get out of here. Oh my God. His devotees. I mean, it's really being teased by Lord Chaitanya. So no one in the entire universe was qualified to face the Lord's challenge. Or converse with him, Gadadhar Pandit thought, I'll be safe if I can run away from him. The word varti from the Sanskrit, dhatu vrit, means I remain present. In this case, I'm spared or I save my life. Prabhu bole Gadadhara ajiyaha gara kalibushi bhana tumi asya satvara. The Lord said, Gadadhar, you can go home today, but come early tomorrow so we can discuss more. Namaskari Gadadhara Jalilena Garae Takura Brahmena Sara Nagare. Gadadhar offered his respects to Nimai and went home. And Nimai continued to wander through the streets of Navadvip. Parama Pandita Gyana Haila Sabara Sabe Karena Deki Samprama Para. Everyone considered Nimai a most learned scholar, so they treated him with awe and reverence. Vikale Takura Sarva Paruyara Sange Gangatire Asya Vaisena Maharange. Every afternoon, Nimai would sit on the bank of the Ganges with his students. Sindhu Sutad Sevita Prabodha Kalevara Tribhuvanaya Advitya Madana Sundara. The Lord's body is served by Lakshmi, the goddess, the daughter of the ocean. His beauty surpasses that of Cupid and is therefore incomparable throughout the three worlds. So the word Sindhu Sutta refers to Sri Lakshmi Devi, who appeared during the churning of the milk ocean. She is described in the Brahma Samhita 29 as follows. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambhava Sevamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Chaturdike Vidya Vaisena Shishagana Maje Shastra Vakanena Sri Sachinandana. Surrounded by his students, Sri Sachinandana would give explanations on the scriptures. Vaishnava Sakala Tabi Sanjakala Haile Asya Vaisena Ganga Tire Kutuhale. In the evening, all the Vaishnavas also gathered on the bank of the Ganges. Dure Taki Prabhura Vyakyana Sabe Shune Harishe Vishada Sabe Bhave Mane. As they listened to Nimai's explanations from a distance, they felt both happiness and lamentation. Keha Bole Hena Rupa Hena Vijayara Nava Shile Krishna Nahi Kichu Upakara. One of them said, if anyone who possesses such beauty and knowledge does not worship Krishna, there is no benefit. Sabe Bolena Bai Uhane Dekiya Punki Giya Sarabaye Yai Palaira. They all replied, dear brother, anyone who sees him runs away in fear of facing his challenge. Keabole Deka Haile Na Dena Idia Mahadani Prayayena Rakena Dadhiya. Someone else said, when he sees someone, he doesn't allow him to leave. He captures him just like a tax collector captures a debtor. Kehabole Brahmanera Shakti Amanushi Kona Mahapurusha Vahaya Hena Vasi. Another said, this Brahmana has uncommon potency. I think he must be some great personality. Gidyapya Nirantara Vakanena Pongi Hatapi Santoshat Bada Pana Inha. Although he constantly asks shrewd questions, we still get great satisfaction just by seeing him. Manushera Mana Panditya Dekinai Krishna Nabhajena Sabe E Duka Pai. We've never seen such knowledge in an ordinary person. Our only regret is he doesn't worship Krishna. Anyo jne sabe sadena sabha prati sabivala ihana oka Krishna rati. The Vaishnavas all requested each other bless Nimai so that his mind will be fixed on Krishna. Dandavat. So they're all making prayers to bless the Lord Chaitanya. Dandavat hai sabe pandit la gangare sarva bhagavata meli ashirvada kare. Then they all offered their obeisances on the bank of the Ganges and blessed Nimai with a prayer. Hena kara Krishna Jagannatera Nandana Tora Rase Mataho Chari Anya Mana. O Krishna, please let the son of Jagannath Mishra become absorbed in you without deviation. Niravadi Prema Bhave Bajuka Tomare Hena Sangha Krishna Deha Ama Sabha Kare. Let him constantly worship you in love, O Lord. Please let us have such association. Antaryami Prabhu Tita Janena Sabhara Shiva Sari Dekile Kari Namaskara. As the Supersoul, the Lord knows the heart of all living entities. Whenever he saw devotees like Srivas, he would offer them his respects. Because Srivas was quite older than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakta Ashirvada Prabhu Shire Kare Laya Bhakta Ashirvada Se Krishnate Bhakti Haya. The Lord accepted the devotees' blessings on his head, for devotional service to Lord Krishna is attained only by the blessings of the devotees. Remember that. Kya kya sakshatayo prabhu deki bole ki karye ganao kala tumi vidya bole. Someone also directly told Nimai, why are you wasting your time with mundane education? Kya bole heratyeka nimani pandata vijayaki lava krishna vajahatvarita. Another person said, look Nimai, what do you gain from your studying? Just worship Krishna. Pare kene loka Krishna bhakti jani bhare sayati nahila tabe vijaya ki kare. Why do people study? Education is only for understanding devotional service of Lord Krishna. If that purpose is not served, then what is the use of your education? Hasi bole prabhu bada Bhagya se amara tomare sikao more Krishna bhakti sara. The Lord smiled and said, I am most fortunate, for you are all teaching me that devotional service to Krishna is the essence of all education. Tumit sabaya raktara shubhanu santana morachite hena laya se bhagyavan. I sincerely feel that one who is blessed by all of you is most fortunate. Katarina padhaya mora chitayache chalimu bushya pala vaishnavera kache. I've already decided that after teaching a while longer, I will go serve a pure devotee. So Lord Chaitanya is showing by his example that by the association with devotees, a taste for devotional service arises. By the prayers of the devotees, a taste for devotional service arises. Even if one has not planned it out in that way, or even wanting it, it happens because a pure devotee is like a magnet which drags the heart and the soul towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Etabali hase prabhu seva kera sene prabhura maya kea prabhurina chine. After saying this, the Lord smiled at his servants. By his influence, however, no one could recognize him. Ematatkura sabhara chita hare hena nahi ye jane apeksha nahi kare. In this way, Nimai attracted the heart of everyone. There was no one who escaped his power of attraction. This is the real power of attraction. Emat shre prabhu vaise ganga tire kakana brahmena prati nagare nagare. Sometimes the Lord sat on the bank of the Ganges, and sometimes he wandered the streets of Navadvip. Prabhu Dakile Matra Nagariya Gana Parama Adarakari Bandena Charana. Whenever the residents saw the Lord, they would all welcome him with great respect. Narigana Deki Bole Eta Madana Sri Loke Poka Janme Janme Hena Dana Panditi Dekai Brahaspatira Samana Vrida Adipada Padme Karye Pranama Yogi Gane Deki Yena Siddhakalevara Tushtagane Deki Yena Maha Bhayankara. When the ladies saw Agora, they said, "Here is Cupid himself. Let women receive such a treasure birth after birth." All the scholars saw him as equal to Brahaspati, that's the priest of the demigods. And even elderly men offered obeisances at his lotus feet. The yogis saw the Lord as the personification of mystic perfection, and the miscreants saw him as the personification of death. Ooh. Divasiko yare prabhu karena sambasa mandi praya hayayena pare prema pamsa. If the Lord spoke with someone just once, that person was bound by ropes of love. Wow. Why doesn't he speak to me? Vijayarase yata prabhu kare alhankara shunena tatapi priti prabhure sabara. Although everyone heard about the Lord, was proud of his scholarship. Heard about how the Lord was proud of his scholarship, still they loved him dearly. Yavaneo Prabhu Deki Karibara Prita Sarvabhuta Kripaluta Prabhora Chatata. Even the Yavanas felt love of the Lord, for the Lord's characteristic is to show mercy to all living entities. Yavanas means non-Vedic followers. Padaya Vaikuntha Nata Navadvipa Pure Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavantera Dhyuyare. The Lord of Vaikuntha taught his students in the courtyard of the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya. Paksha Pratipaksha Sutra Khandana Stapana Vakane Ashesha Rupe Sri Sachinandana. Arguments, counter-arguments, establishing and refuting the meaning of a sutra. These were all explained in various ways by the son of Mother Shachi. Gosti Saha Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavan Pasye Anande Marma Najanaye Tana. Although they could not understand the Lord's explanations, the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya and his family all floated in waves of ecstasy. Vijayaya Kadiya Takurayaya Gare Vijayarase Vaikuntera Nayaka Vihare. After completing his teaching in school, the Lord of Vaikuntha returned home still absorbed in his scholastic pastimes. Ekadina Vayudeha Mandya Kari Chala Prakashena Prema Bhakti Vikara Sakala. One day, on the pretext of sickness due to excessive gas, the Lord manifested transformations of ecstatic love. This is interesting. I should actually read the purport because this is an interesting explanation. The gross body of the living entity is made of three elements: mucus, bile, and air. As soon as the nature of any one, two, or three of the three elements alters, the gross body is transformed to disease. When the gross body is diseased, the mental condition is certainly affected, although the mind is part of the subtle body because it is presently joined with the gross body, it takes on the same nature. The word shigra, or quickly, indicates a greater than normal movement of an object. Whenever the movement of an object is less than normal, the word mandya is used. When the air in the body changes its normal course of movement, then airborne diseases are formed. This like craziness. The service attitude of Krishna's servant that Sri Gaura Sundar displayed with his pure transformations of ecstatic love and desire to serve the Supreme Lord was not understandable by ordinary people. Therefore, the Lord pretended to suffer from a disorder of bodily airs. Actually, the transformation of loving devotion that manifests in a heart illuminated with pure goodness is not one of the airborne diseases as imagined by foolish materialistic atheists. Those who were totally averse to the service of the Lord consider the most wonderful transformations of love for Krishna, which are desired by the spotless Paramahamsas, as one of the 49 varieties of airborne diseases they are subjected to. It is to be understood that this is punishment for their aversion to the Lord. Achambite Prabhu alokika shabda bole gada gadayaya hase gada bongi pele. The Lord suddenly uttered some unworldly sounds, then he laughed as he rolled on the ground and nearly damaged the house. So these are symptoms of ecstasy called Vyabhachari Baba or Sanchari Baba, which we talked about yesterday, which means these particular motions are uncontrollable, intermittent, and they move Sanchari throughout the whole body, and you really can't control anything. Hunkara Garajanakare Mal Satpure Samuke Dekiyare Tahare Mare. He roared loudly and challenged everyone like a wrestler, and he beat whoever he could catch. Oh my God. Shanai Shanai Sarvanga Stamba Kriti Haya Hena Murcha Haya Loke Deki Paya Baya. Wow. Again and again his entire body became stunned, and he fell unconscious in such a way that people were frightened. Shuri Lena Bandugana Vayura Vikara Daya Asisha Vatsabe Kare Pratikara. When Nimai's friends and relatives heard about his gastric disorder, they came running to treat him. Purimantakan Ara Mukunda Sanjaya Goshti Saha Ailena Prabora Alaya. Buddhimanta Khan, Mukunda Sanjay, and their associates all came to the Lord's house. So these were rich people who came with their medicines. Vishnu Taila, Narayana Taila, Dana Shire, Sabe Kare, Pratikara, Yara Yenas Pure. They applied some medicinal oils on the Lord's head and tried to cure him in any way they could. Apanambichaya Prabhu Nana Karma Kare. Say Kemane Shustak Haibeka Pratikare. The Lord performs various pastimes by his own sweet will. How can he be cured by some external medicines, external remedies? I think it's remedies, yeah. Sarvange Kampa Prabhu Kare Aspalana Hunkara Shunya Baya Paya Sarva Janad. All the limbs of the Lord shivered. He shouted loudly in such a way that everyone was frightened. Prabhu Bole, Mui Sarva Lokera Ishvara, Mui Vishwa Daron Mora Nama Vishwambara. He then declared, I am the Lord of all. I maintain the universe. Therefore I am named Vishwambara. Which is true, but everyone was thinking, oh my God, he's become crazy. We say morai tana chine kona jane etabali larade dare sarajane. I am the Supreme Lord, but no one recognizes me. Saying this, the Lord tottered and everyone tried to catch him. Oh my God. Apana prakasha prabhu kare vayu chale. Tatapina bunjay keha natana maya vale. In this way, the Lord manifested himself on the pretext of gastric disorder, yet by the influence of his illusory energy, no one could understand him. Keha bole kaila danava adishtana keha bole hena bushi dakinira kama. Someone said he's been possessed by a demon. Someone else said this is the work of a witch. Keha bole sedai karena vakya vyaya ataiva hela vayu janiha nishchaya. Another said, since he's always speaking, it is certainly a gastric disorder. E matasarva jane karena vichara Vishnu maya mohe tatva na janiya tanra. In this way, everyone gave different opinions, but by the influence of the Lord's illusory potency, no one understood the truth. Bahu vidya pakataila sabe dena shire taila drone tui taila dena kalevare. They applied various medicated oils on the Lord's head, and then they put him in a wooden tub filled with oil and rubbed his body. Taila drone base prabhu hase kala kala sachayena mahavayu kariyache bala. Immersed in that oil, the Lord began to laugh as if a terrible gastric disorder had actually infected him. Matapana ichayali lakari swabhavika prabhu vayo parihari. While thus enjoying his pastimes according to his own will, the Lord became normal as if relieved of his gastric disorder. Sarvaga agane utila nanda hari dvane kebakare vastradeya Nahi Jani. Everyone then chanted the names of Hari in ecstasy, and in jubilation they distributed cloth to one another without discrimination. Sarva Lokeshu Nihaila Harishita Sabibole Jiu Jiu Ehena Pandita. Everyone was pleased to hear about the Lord's recovery, and they blessed him. Such a scholar should live a long life. Ematoranga Kare Vaikuntera Raya Caitanya Janite Pare Yarina Janaya. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed his pastimes. Who can understand these pastimes unless the Lord reveals them? Prabhure Dikya Sarva Vaishnavera Gana Sabibole Bhaja Bhapa Krishnera Chatana. When all the Vaishnavas saw the Lord, they told him, "Dear Nimai, please worship the lotus feet of Krishna." Kshaneke Nahika Bapa Anitjas Sharira Tumareki Shikaimu Tumi Mahadirat. This body is temporary. It may be vanquished the next moment. But you are a sober person. What can we teach you? Hasya Prabhu Sabhare Karya Namaskara Vadaiti Chale Shisha Sangati Apara. The Lord smiled at the Vaishnavas and offered them obeisances. Then he left for school with his students. Mukunda Sanjaya Punya Vantara Mandire Padayena Prabhu Chandi Mandapa Bitare. The Lord taught his students in the Chandi Mandapa within the courtyard of the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya. Parama Sugandhi Paka Taila Prabhu Shire Kona Punya Vantadeya Prabhu Vyakya Kare. As the Lord began to teach, his head was smeared with fragrant medicated oil that was given by some pious person. Chatur Dike Shobe Punyavanta Shishagana Maje Prabhu Vakya Kare Jagat Jivana. Nimai, the life of the universe, sat and taught in the midst of his many fortunate students. Se Sabara Mahimata Kahite Napare Upama Dipana Kiba Nadeki Vichare. I am unable to describe or give a comparison for that wonderful scene. Hey Nabuji Yena Sanakari Shishagane Narayane Vedi Vase Badarik Ka Shame. It appeared that Lord Narayan was sitting in Badarik Ashram surrounded by his disciples headed by Sanaka. Tansabari Laya Yena Prabhu Se Padaya Hina Bushi Se Lila Kare Gora Raya. Lord Gaurachandra now enjoyed the same pastimes as when Lord Narayan personally taught his disciples. Se Badarikashramavasi Narayana Nishchaya Janihi E Sachiranandana. Sri Sachinandana is certainly the same Lord Narayan who resides in Badarikashrama. Ataiva Shishya Sange Se Lila Kare Vijarase Vakuntera Nayaka Vihare. Therefore, The Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed those same pastimes while relishing scholastic pleasures with his students. Padhyay Prabhu Dwi Purahara Haile Tabishishagana Laya Ganga Snane Chale. After teaching at midday, the Lord would take his students for bath in the Ganges. Ganga Jale Vihara Kariya Katakshana Grihasi Kari Prabhu Sri Vishnu Pujana. The Lord sported in the waters of the Ganges for some time and then returned home to worship Lord Vishnu. Tulasire Jala Diya Padakshina Kari Bojane Vasilagiya Bali Hari Hari. Then after watering and circumambulating Tulasi, the Lord recited the name of Hari as he sat down to eat. Lakshmi Dena Ana Kana Vaikuntera Pati Nayana Bharya Deke I Punyavati. Lakshmi served rice and the Lord of Vaikuntha ate. The pious mother Sachi watched to her full satisfaction. Bhojana Antare Kare Tambula Charvana Shayana Karena Lakshmi Sevana Chatana. After finishing his meal, the Lord chewed betel nuts and then lay down while Lakshmi massaged his lotus feet. Katakshanal Yoganidra Prati Drishti Diya Puna Prabhu Chalilena Pushtaka Laya. After taking some rest, the Lord again went out with his books. Nagareyasi Akare Vivida Vilasa Sabara Sahitikari Hasya Sambhasha. Nimai enjoyed various pastimes in the city and smiled as he talked with the residents. Yadyapi Prabhura Keha Tatva Nahi Jane Tatapi Sadvasha Kare Deki Sarvajane. Although no one knew his real identity, the residents still offered him respects whenever they saw him. Nagare Brahmanakare Sri Sachinandana Devera Durlabha Vastu Deke Sarvajana. Although Sri Sachinandana is rarely seen by even the demigods, he now wandered throughout the streets of Navadvip within the sight of all. Ukti Lena Prabhu Tantu Vayera Du Yare Deki Sambrame Tantu Vayo Namaskare. One day the Lord went to the house of a weaver, and the weaver respectfully offered him obeisances. Balavastrana Prabhu Bolaye Vachana Tantu Vayashvastra Anilena Sekshana. The Lord said, "Bring one nice piece of cloth," and the weaver immediately brought some cloth. Prabhu Bole Evastra Ki Murya Lai Tantu Vaya Bole Tumi Apane Ye Diba. The Lord then asked, "What is the price of this cloth?" The weaver replied, "Give me whatever you like." Murya Kari Bola Prabhu Ebe Kari Nai Tanti Bole Dashe Pakshe Dio Ye Goshani. After settling the price, the Lord said, "I don't have any money right now." The weaver then said, "Oh, Goswami, you can give me in 10 or 15 days. Brashtalaya para tumi parama santoshe pache tumi kari more dio samaveshe. You take the cloth and happily wear it. You can pay me whenever you please." So he was like a great devotee. Tanduvayo prati Prabhu Shubha Drishti Kare Utilena Gya Prabhu Goyalara Puri. After mercifully glancing at the weaver, the Lord continued to the house of a coward. Vasilena Mahaprabhu Gopera Duyara Brahmana Sambandhi Prabhu Padihasa Kare. Mahaprabhu sat down on his veranda and began to make fun of the activities of the Brahmanas. Prabhu Bole Areveta Dadi Dugdana Ajitora Garera Laimu Mahadana. The Lord said, "O son, bring me some milk and yogurt. Today I'm going to accept charity from your house." Gopavrinde Dekiyena Sakshad Madana Sambrame Dilena Ani Uttama Asana. The coward men thought Nimai looked just like Cupid. They respectfully offered him a nice asana. Prabhu Sange Gopagana Kare Parihasa Mama Mama Bali Sabe Kare Sambasa Keha Bole Chala Mama Vatakai Gya Gonagopa Kande Kariyaya Garilaya. They began to joke with the Lord and address him as uncle. One of them said, "Come, uncle, let us go eat some rice." Then one of them took Nimai on his shoulder and carried him to his house. Even though Nimai was just a little kid. Not a little kid, I was a young man. Kehobole yatabata karera amara purveye kailamane nahika tomara. Another said, "Don't you remember how you previously ate all the rice in my house?" Sarasati Sachakai Gopa Nahi Jane. Oh, these are little boys. Hasi Mahaprabhu Gopa Ganera Vachane. Although the coward boys didn't realize that by the grace of the transcendental goddess of learning, Saraswati, whatever they spoke was true. Meanwhile, Nimai simply smiled at their words. Wow. Okay. I think we will have to end now at text 121. 21 and 12th chapter. So, let us stop sharing and take questions. How about that, gang? Okay, we stopped sharing. And let me, whoops. I've got to move these things around to get to the, hold on a second. I got to get to the place where I can unmute you. Whoops. Uh-oh. Did I pull something out here? Hopefully I didn't do it. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, participants. Unmute. Okay, I have unmuted you all. So, okay, so who has a, let me just, I got these windows all over the place right now. Hold on a second. I think that Diaronica had a question. Yeah. So, Diarotica, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my obeisances. My question is in reference to when Lord Chaitanya was like pretending to be crazy and was saying like, "I'm Lord of the universe," and you know, it was the truth, but they didn't believe him. So I was wondering, why and how do we know that Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of Krishna, and why and how do we know that Prabhupada is a Shakti Avesh avatar?
All right. Good question. First of all, there's a lot of quotes from the Vedic literatures, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has compiled, that show that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his mother's name and where he would appear was predicted. Just like if there is a quote, it says that the Lord will appear as the son of Shachi. There's not many. My mother's name is not Shachi, so obviously I'm not the Lord. So in Navadweep, and he will teach the Yuga Dharma, and he will take sannyas at a certain age. So all these different, like really direct predictions were made about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent and his mission. So we have Shastra, and then we have Sadhu. You know, the way we understand things is Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. And Sadhu, of course, means great saintly persons, and in the disciplic succession. And then also we can observe Lord Chaitanya's mission, just like we see that, okay, so Prabhupada, we explained about Lord Chaitanya very briefly. So as far as understanding that Prabhupada is a Shakti Vaishnava, which means he's a Jiva soul like us, but he's empowered by Lord Chaitanya, is you have to see his actions. That's how you determine a Shakti Vaishnava. By his actions. You can't really get into someone's mind and say that they're a Shakti Vaishnava. So his actions are not only that he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, but in terms of disciplic succession, how he was so dedicated to his spiritual master, and how his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was dedicated to his spiritual master, Srila Gaura Kishore Babaji Maharaj. So there's an unbroken chain of disciplic succession. The message has been passed down by this same standard of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, we could see that there's no change in the message. There's change in the packaging of the message, but there's no change actually in the message given. And then you also have the experience that one has by following Krishna consciousness, even though, at least in my case and your case and most of the cases of the people who are listening, they were never raised in any way similar to Krishna consciousness. And so they have actually had this direct experience. So there's direct experience, which sometimes can be faulty direct experience. There's direct experience, there's Shastra, and not only direct experience in terms of one's like ecstasy, but in terms of one's detachment from this material world. Losing interest in things of this world, becoming happy. Of course, that's also there. And so anyway, there's these standards, and other great personalities have accepted Caitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna himself. So many, many great personalities have accepted, many great philosophers. I mean, you look at the works. I was thinking actually in philosophy or educated people, there's no one who actually equals like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Jiva Goswami in terms of their exposition of philosophy and their proofs showing that not only Lord Chaitanya is God, but the efficacy and the process of devotional service. So, I mean, before I came to Christian consciousness, I examined so many different religions from a objective standpoint and came to the conclusion that, Krishna consciousness was it, simply from an even before I had that experience. So there's the objective standpoint and the experiential standpoint. So, anyway, the main like objective point about Lord Chaitanya is the quotes from the Vedic literatures that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has compiled. And then we have our subjective experience, and we have the cyclic succession, and not only our personal experience, but the experience of seeing others who are following. Okay, we got some typed in messages here. That was a good question.
Thank you for the answer. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm certainly not one to follow blindly. To accept something blindly, that would be against my nature. I'm more rebellious. So here's a question. Hare Krishna Gurudev, please explain Lord Chaitanya's actions like debating and feeling bhavas. Lord Chaitanya was trying to draw people's emotions out and trying to make them think of him more, number one. Number two, he was actually experiencing, God likes to tease. God likes to give people a hard time sometimes. Just like when I was young, I would tease my parents. And even now I tease my disciples. That's what disciples are for. Why else would I have disciples if, there's no one else to tease? Can't tease my God. Well, I do tease my God brothers sometimes. So there's the Lord Chaitanya's experience, because he's experiencing love. He's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's why he actually experienced those bhavas. But the reason he did that in a public way was so that others could connect with him. So he's connecting with people. This is called the Yata Sukriti. We're not knowing that they're actually connecting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here's another question. Brajendra Kumar, Hare Krishna, please. In today's class and also yesterday's class, you mentioned about the heart. Is heart different from the mind and the soul? The heart is the same as the soul. What is the heart? Well, there's the material heart, which is the muscle. Senses, mind, soul. The soul, the heart is the feelings, the very self, who you are, your emotions of the soul. I mean, if you really want to get into the emotions of the soul, the feelings of the soul, and the nature of the soul is feeling, and it's not different from the soul, so it is the soul. So, devotees rushing to the Lord to heal his gastric issue is part of his yogamaya. Yep, definitely, it's his yogamaya. It's definitely not Mahamaya. It's his yogamaya. Okay, I think that's all we have time for today, and I'm pretty sure there won't be class tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be in India doing Govardhan Parikrama hopefully every day. And we have a large group of devotees, maybe over 40 devotees joining us for a retreat at Govardhan. Devotees from all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, America, are joining us. So if you don't see me online like this for 2 weeks, well, you'll see me online. I'll be giving class, but at a different time. But not about the Caitanya Bhagavat, because I want to keep the Caitanya Bhagavat for this specific time, which is good for most of the devotees in the world. So, and of course, Europe, this is not a good time for Europe, but for India, it's actually in the morning. So, all right. So, on that happy note, thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki.